What is up, everybody? Welcome into another episode of Talk to Me here on NotFest.com. As always, I'm Joshua Toomey, not joined by Chris Aiken this week, but joined by Bakko from the Cobras and Fire podcast. Bakko, how are we doing this week?
Very good, man. I really appreciate the invite. I don't get to talk to you as much lately.
I know, man. It's just like, how have you been? Have you been good? I haven't seen you in months, it feels like.
This is almost like a home and home. You were just on the plus one, right? And then now I'm on. Yeah, I'm doing very good. I appreciate you having me on. It's weird because on the episode that we drop on Tuesday, LC is promoting a couple of appearances that he did recently, and it just dawned on him that like I have not been a guest on anybody's program. Like, yeah, I pretty much wore out my welcome. So. Anyway,
well, you have so many things going on over there at Cobras and Fire that we're always on your shows. So now you're coming to my show. Chris is out with some back issues this week, so hopefully a little T's and P's out to Chris Aiken this week. But you're in St. Paul, Minnesota, and the one guy that hates Chris Aiken the most is in St. Paul, Minnesota. So maybe your accent, maybe maybe you can throw in a Skull Vikings every once in a while to appease that guy.
Skull, don't you know? There you go. There we go. Andy Skull. Yeah. So,
yeah, nice. I like it, man.
Maybe him and I'll look up for a play date, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, he films concerts, so you can go hang out with him there.
Oh, he's that guy? Oh, I always get stuck behind him.
The guy with the camera phone out, man. This week on Talk to Me, Brent Smith of Shinedown was the guest, man. And as you can tell, if you listen to the episode, those of you that did, Brent and I go way back. And I kind of ambushed him with some memory lane, man. I think I first met that guy in like 1997. So it was like one of my very first ever out of town shows was opening for his old band. And we, back in the day when we traded shows, I traded shows with his pre-Shinedown band. But that's the first time I've talked to him, probably 25 years. So that was a good time.
That's very cool. I know LC liked it, and I just because you always bust my balls because I don't listen to every episode right away. It's there. It's in the queue.
It's in the queue at the bottom.
No, that's very towards the top. It's like third from the top. But I have a lot in the queue. Yeah, a lot to get to. I'm looking forward to that one. He's one of my top 5 current singers, if you want to call them current. They've been around over 20 years at this point. But yeah, he is definitely a generational voice. He checks every box that I like and that stuff. Musically, they've kind of lightened up a little bit from what I liked about them.
Yeah.
But whatever. I'm sick to death of it. But that Monsters Are Real song was a really good song. Is one of their more recent tracks. But yeah, whatever. And I still have yet to dig into the latest record, even though LC had it in his top 5.
Yeah, it's one of those deals where I've talked with Aiken about this, but you go to interview somebody and you interview people in Cobras of Fire, and you'll go in and interview them, and then their music sounds better afterwards. You're like, do I like the music more now, or is it just because they were nice to be on the interview? But I've definitely went back to the Planet Zero record a lot the last few days, and it's actually pretty heavy. So I think you might be in for a surprise when you dive into it.
Cool. Yeah, I definitely, I did actually, nice. You're reminding me, I do plan on getting back to that, but whatever. I can relate to what you're saying on that stuff. I think a lot of times what it is, all of a sudden you have a personal connection, and the music all of a sudden has a slightly different meaning to you. And you look at you come into it with a kind of a different angle. I've definitely had that happen. Michael Sweet was one for me. And then like a couple records more that he did, I'm like, well, now we're back to
regular Michael Sweet. Yeah.
Sorry, very talented dude. And that was not a cheap shot, but and a great guest. Yeah.
That could be the show graphic. Me, you, and Michael Sweet, man. That's a good photo.
That was a great night.
I remember most of it.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. I wonder if he does.
He probably does, but hopefully he does. Well, let's dive into some news, man. Limp Bizkit has put out a new video today as we record, and over here on blabbermouth.net, says Limp Bizkit uses deep fake technology to include Vladimir Putin, Joe Biden, Tom Cruise, and more in a new music video. And you said you did get to check this out, man. So what did you think of the video?
It was funny. I liked it. And Biden falling on his bicycle was kind of cute. Tom Cruise, I don't just slapping wieners around.
Right.
And it was a cool tune. I don't know. The whole thing was kind of neat.
Yeah,
I don't think the deep fake technology used in it is very good, though. I do not think that singer looks like Putin at all.
I mean, like I said before, I think that's probably the one I could tell who it was. It's like it's new metal Putin, man. Come on. You know,
I did get Biden late. Actually, I didn't until I saw Tom Cruise, and then they went to Biden. I'm like, okay, wait a second. Are these all supposed to be? I watched almost 2/3 of the video before I realized. I knew it wasn't Limp Bizkit, but I was like, what's going on here? That there's got to be something I'm missing. But
you watching the drummer, you're like, he just doesn't look like John Otto. Something's just not right. Something's a little bit off, man.
Pretty close.
But as for the songs off of Still Sucks, Out of Style is probably one of my favorite riffs. So you were enjoying that riff earlier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very much. It was it's that's why for a second I wasn't after watching it. I'm like, okay, this is Limp Bizkit, right? Oh yeah, it says Limp Bizkit. Okay, like because it was very convincing, but.
Yeah, and that would totally be like if Putin put together a band in his garage, I think it would totally be Limp Bizkit. So
yeah.
Are you a Limp Bizkit fan? Are you a guy that ever got into them over the years?
I'm probably more neutral than a fan. I saw them on the $3 Bill Y'all tour opening for Primus. So that was my first exposure to them. And then, like 2 years later, they're the biggest band on the planet. They got some jams, man. I'm not a hater. I think Fred Durst has kind of like made it easy to hate those guys,
right?
You know, I mean, I don't know, whatever. I dig it.
Nice. So. Well, let's dive into some Satanic Panic. I know how much you love the church and the state and
Hail Satan,
the Church of Satan. I actually pulled up over on wearethepit.com. The Church of Satan was unimpressed by Sam Smith's Grammy performance is the headline.
Shocking. Yeah.
Let's see here. It says people are pretty upset about Sam Smith and Kim Petras performing Unholy at the Grammys. Both musicians went full bore in going all the way with a playfully devilish performance of Unholy, the two of them clad in all red garb. Of course, the point of this was to elicit reactions from those who would be easily offended by any kind of satanic imagery. That happened. The likes of Ted Cruz and others tweeted out their disgust at the performance. Outrage machine aside, one might wonder how satanic was their performance actually.
I did find out recently because of some blowback from this performance that apparently abortion clinics, in order to get an abortion, they include a satanic ritual. So as far as I'm concerned, if you give me a free satanic ritual, that's just going to increase the chances of me wanting to get an abortion someday.
According to the actual Church of Satan, not really. Speaking to TMZ, wow, TMZ is involved. David Harris.
They get it.
Speaking to TMZ, David Harris, Magister of the Church of Satan, said Smith and Petrus's performance was "quote unquote" all right and nothing particularly special.
I believe it's magistry. You don't want to get on their bad side.
Well, it's spelled all goofy, but I figured that was the wrong pronunciation of that one.
I don't know.
It's Magistr. So.
Maybe it's something new. I don't know.
It's a new thing of the Church of Satan. You're not open your Church of Satan lingo?
I haven't gone in a while. No. It's kind of a thing, we did as a kid. Yeah. But it's been a rough couple days for Satan. I actually have opined quite a bit. I've written many songs about it. Did a music video related to this where the whole thing is tied to the idea that like music was better when Satan was involved, and we had adults telling us you can't listen to that because of the devil. You're worshiping the devil when you do it. And they would go to concerts and they'd protest, and then now things got all kind of milquetoast because largely I think my generation, like we're like, that was all so stupid. It's just music, right? So we kind of ruined it for ourselves. But at least like when Satan was involved, we were getting records like Back in Black, man, not Sam Smith. And Sam Smith, that whole performance to me is like one day he woke up and said, holy fuck, my name is Sam Smith. I need to mix something up if I'm going to keep that name.
Yeah.
People aren't going to remember Sam Smith. It's like the butcher from the Brady Bunch. It's like, but now we know Sam Smith, Satanist.
Additionally, TMZ says Harris and company were far more complimentary of Lil Nas X's video for Montero, which was more proactive than anything Sam or Kim did, at the least in a satanic sense. So yeah, I mean, that was the thing with, like, Lil Nas X just did this like last year, the year before, like he gave Satan a lap dance and all this other stuff. So this is just this is almost old hat now, Sam Smith.
I agree with the Church of Satan's comments regarding that. The Lil Nas X song, actually, I thought was a better song. Don't really care for either one that much, but that video, that was how you fucking do it. You wanna piss off some people with some satanic ritualism? Go watch that little. What is it? My Name is Montero, right? That's what it's called.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, it's not very catchy, but it's a devilish watch, that's for sure. But politicians chiming in with this nonsense just shows you how we are devolving as a society. Adults, we have functioning brains, right? We should be getting smarter with these things. You can't accidentally worship Satan. You can promote it. It's a free country. It's a religion. But yeah, anyway, you can't watch the Grammys and then suddenly sell your soul without at least willing to.
So Ted Cruz's tweet was this ... is ... evil. Liz Wheeler, I'm not sure who she is.
Would know.
But, she says, "Don't fight the culture wars," they say. Meanwhile, demons are teaching your kids to worship Satan. I could throw up.
Oh my God.
And your favorite person, Marjorie Taylor Greene, she says, the Grammys featured Sam Smith's demonic performance and was sponsored by Pfizer. And the Satanic Church now has an abortion clinic in New Mexico that requires its patients to perform a satanic ritual before services. American Christians need to get to work.
Pfizer, huh? I mean, it was Aaron Rodgers writing that for her?
Well, you brought it up. I thought you were joking. What is the satanic ritual that the abortion clinic is making people do before an abortion?
I can only speculate, as I haven't had my abortion with so I'm gonna guess that it's just an abortion.
Okay.
And they the I don't know what the brain cells of Marjorie Taylor Greene put that together like that.
So yeah, I think it's I'm not a Sam Smith fan.
Can I say this?
Yeah.
I'd say it's important to get out and vote, but when people do that, people like Marjorie Taylor Greene get elected. So stay home, skip it.
Everyone just stay home. Oh man, yeah, it's I watched the performance. I mean, it's silly. I mean, it's all the red Satan stuff, and it's no deicide out there. We need some. Exactly. If we're gonna do some satanic stuff, let's get some deicide on the Grammys.
Damn, now you might get me to watch, but it might surprise you to know the Grammys really aren't my thing. So,
really,
yeah,
all right.
I might not be the target audience.
Well, speaking of Grammys, Ozzy Osbourne comments on his 2 Grammy wins, saying, "I'm one lucky motherfucker." Congratulations to Ozzy Osbourne.
Sure, why not? If you're more deserving than most of the people on there.
Yeah, Ozzy was honored with 2 Grammy Awards for Best Rock Album, his first ever win in the category, and Best Metal Performance from his highly successful and critically acclaimed by Loose Cannon, Patient Number 9 album. This marks Ozzy's first solo Grammy in nearly 30 years.
So, he's won one before.
Yeah, let's see here. I don't know if it'll actually tell me in this story where it was. But yeah, he won a couple of Grammys, so good for him. Going out on top, right?
Yeah. Oh, you're putting a ribbon on his career, huh?
Well, his touring career.
Yeah, no.
I'm sure Andrew Watt and Sharon Osbourne will pump out solo records for the rest of time.
Man, I was not terribly thrilled with the idea of Andrew Watt getting involved on the the Ordinary Man record.
Yeah.
Largely because the little I knew is just Post Malone. But in that time since, one, I think he's done a solid job on both those records. I mean, I can nitpick certain things, but it would just be nitpicking. I think the songs are strong. I think the production's solid. And I liked both of them. Plus, in that time, I've actually come to appreciate Post Malone a little more. So I've kind of turned on him. But where I'm getting with this, Josh, is that, he was on the Rick Rubin's podcast. So I listened to it. And what an uninteresting, boring, self-important piece of shit this little kid is. I went in, honestly, I was like, I'd actually, let's check out, see what this guy's got to say. And it's really just, it's nothing. I'm like, how is this happening? I can't imagine somebody being that good, that involved in the creative process and being able to jump, from a couple different types of artists and do it at a high level, which he's done, and then also have zero to say. It's just, he reminded me of it, that is Machine Gun Kelly, who I think has actually done some good acting. I'm not a huge hater of his stuff, despite his thoughts on Slipknot. His rock stuff, anyway. I literally know nothing about his rap shit. I couldn't even comment on it.
Honestly, I thought his rap stuff was actually pretty good. But
okay, fair enough. Then I hear him on Howard Stern, and I'm like, God, this guy is so boring. He just talks about the dumbest things, and it's like, God, what a waste.
Yeah. It says here in the article, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee previously won 3 Grammy Awards and received 8 nominations. In 1993, Ozzy won a solo Grammy Award for Best Metal Performance for I Don't Want to Change the World and 2 Grammys as a member of Black Sabbath for the Best Metal Performance in 2000 for Iron Man and in 2013 for Best Metal Performance for God Is Dead from 13.
I kind of remember the Iron Man one because that was one of those ones. I might be confused with another year the Grammys got everything kind of fucked up, but it was like 4 of the 5 awards were for like re-recordings of super old songs.
Right.
It was just like, God, whatever.
It's like Motorhead getting a Grammy for their cover of Whiplash. It's what's
That's
going
true,
on here?
Right? Yeah.
Like of all things, like and I think the Grammys are voted on by like other musicians and people that have won in the past. So I think a lot of times these Grammys that are these weird categories are just like, oh, I know the name Black Sabbath, I'll vote for that. They don't actually do like what you and I would do and actually listen to all the nominees and actually pick out the best metal performance.
If I was a Grammy voter in every category, if it said Beyonce, I don't care. I would not listen to the song and I would not vote for her. That would be the only thing that I would. Hey, I did see this was almost like a troll headline. I can't remember what news outlet it is. So I thought maybe NME, but I got to believe it was someone else. Here's the headline. And this is verbatim. So unknown blues singer beats out Taylor Swift and Beyonce for Song of the Year. And of course, we're talking about Bonnie Raitt. And I've since found out that she's the only one in the category, of course, by the way, that wrote the song by herself. But yeah, come on, we know. I can't name 2 Bonnie Raitt songs, but I know 2 things. She's been around for a long time, done a lot of shit, and calling her a blues singer is really pretty narrow compared to what she actually does.
Yeah, I kind of wonder on that if that's not a joke, because every time they do that stuff where they maybe Eminem throws up Elton John, they're like, oh, look at Eminem, pushing out this old guy, like crap like that. So I hope that's just a joke. But
it wasn't like Babylon Bee or The Onion or anything like that. So I did check it out. I just can't remember. For some reason, I think it was NME, but that doesn't sound right that they would go that direction. But yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, Kanye West helping out this unknown artist named Paul McCartney.
Yeah, there we go. I think that's one I was thinking about.
But yeah, I liked yours too.
I know you're a big Danzig guy, so I figured I would bring this one to the table.
Oh, nice.
Ex-Danzig guitarist John Christ wanted Kirk Hammett's job in Metallica.
I saw that. Not a lot of details in this article to flesh it out, but it sounded like he almost intimated that, like, when he first thought that he was still like abusing alcohol or drugs, and then when he got sober, he started thinking about, well, how could I actually do that? Let me see if I can't formulate a plan. I don't, you know what? I love his playing in Danzig, and that Flesh Caffeine record, not much to write home about, but it's his only solo record. But the guitar playing is very much in that vein and a lot of really good stuff. Very raw, bluesy, Kind of got that darker edge to it. So I really wish Danzig would have just kept that original lineup together. Yeah. That said, I can't. Maybe he's got the ability to play Metallica. It's almost like saying Ace Frehley replacing Eddie Van Halen. It's like, well, they're both really good guitar players, but not exactly the same thing.
Right. The article says guitarist John Christ, who left Danzig in July of 1995 after 4 albums and 1 EP, reflected on his exit from the band in a new interview with Guitar World magazine. Asked what led to his decision to move on from Danzig, John said, "The band, Eerie Von, Chuck Biscuits, and I were in a horrible contract negotiations. Actually, there were no negotiations. Glenn Danzig wanted it all and was slowly squeezing us out. He had all of the support from the label and management. We had no one backing us. Glenn could afford to outspend us until we cried uncle. Royalties, publishing, advances, everything. He signed his own deal without us ever knowing about it. Welcome to the entertainment business."
Yeah. I wonder how accurate some of that stuff is, because, I'm sorry, but Glenn Danzig is not the endless pile of money even then. But I'm sure he wielded some control, and I've just played with a lot of musicians that aren't to say they're not good businessmen would be an insult to people who aren't good businessmen. It's just, so you kind of feel things going, and things are very emotional. And a lot of times you make decisions based on emotion more than what you legally could do. Like, well, go ahead. You can kick me out on your own, but that's going to cost you because of whatever again, I don't know what the details were. I do know that Danzig has basically a Kiss version of it was never meant to be anything but me and whoever I wanted. It was always the vision that I had. It's like, well,
right.
On, really.
It's got my name on it. By that time, this is probably the height of Glenn Danzig as a entertainer. Mother is big. Danzig's 1, 2, 3, and I guess 4 is out by then.
Yeah.
And I'm saying if Danzig has all the royalties, publishing advances, and everything kind of going to him, and then he can disperse it to the band, then I would say, he definitely had the kind of money at the time to, outspin them and just kind of slowly, wait them out, I guess.
Yeah. They make it sound though that it's like one of those things where it's like I'm trying to sue Big Tobacco. Right. I just look. I don't know that it would even got that far. It might have got. Maybe you had a bad contract to begin with and you weren't negotiating one. Now you just had no leverage. That to me is kind of a different thing. Again, though, I don't know. I'm just speculating because I found it interesting. Why not, throw together a reunion show with those 4? I wonder if I haven't heard shit from Chuck Biscuits in any sense in at least a decade. I wonder if that guy, he's got to be in his 60s now, and he's a pretty heavy hitting drummer. So I wonder if he can do it, I know Eerie could still slap on a bass if he had to. He might not be able to move around, but.
Yeah, I will say Eerie, though, looks cool as hell.
Yeah, it still does, yeah.
Like when I get that old, I hope that's what I look like.
Right.
and you can't fight Big Danzig, so you don't want to take on Big Danzig. Regarding whether he had plans when he quit Danzig, Christ said, "What I really wanted was to join Metallica. I wanted Kirk Hammett's job so badly." Yeah, well, yeah, me too. So badly that I could taste it. It's funny, years later, after I sobered up, I occasionally thought about how I would take Kirk Hammett out and get his job. The only other gig I really wanted was playing with Ozzy Osbourne, but I ended up forming Juice 13, a band with guys that could literally talk a nun out of her panties, but that didn't work out. I immediately moved to record a solo album, but at the time I was in a very physically intense relationship with a woman that I met at the gym, which was addicting and that clouded things for me. So it's always a woman.
Yep. Adam and Eve, baby. Yeah, a lot of the words in there make me kind of got my mind going to where I went with it. Like, maybe you're just not really that smart. A lot of talented musicians fall under that category, but
Right. In 2004, John was involved in a traffic accident which left him unable to play guitar for several years.
Wow.
John returned to the stage in 2009 when he performed live in Essex, Maryland for the first time in nearly a decade. So that is what's up with John Christ.
You know, a friend of mine, well, actually, he's our delivery driver at the company I work for. He's
Nice.
a drummer, but so
Okay.
he's a music friend. And he's still living the dream. He hasn't kind of punched his card as I have, but he's in like 4 bands. But you know what it's like, especially local cover bands. What the scene is. He said he told me this today, and this kind of reminded me that he was actually he said I was kind of got a weird offer from a woman at a bar at one of our shows, and he's like, she wants me to mentor her 34-year-old son on the music business. My first response is, well, why is she talking to you?
Right.
And it wasn't a shot. He knew what I was saying. Right? He was like, you're talking to a guy who's in his late 40s playing in a bar that you're at.
Yeah.
So he was like, what kind of stuff does he play? Like, he's like, oh, he can play any Foo Fighters songs. He wants that job. And I'm like, and my buddy's a drummer. He's like, so every drummer wants that job right now. It's like, yeah. Right. So yeah, like, yeah, you want to be in Metallica? Me too, man.
Who do you think is going to get the Foo Fighters job? Do you have the down low? I know you're a big Foo head.
Sure. I have no fucking clue. I don't know that I have a care. I got a feeling it's not going to be one guy, but that's just a gut feeling. There's a couple of people that played at the show that were good. The guy from The Darkness, I think, was a good fit for them. I don't mean this to piss on people or get rid of I don't like the idea of his kid Taylor's son playing in the band. First of all,
right.
He's still young, still learning. It was a very cool moment for him, and I would never want to take that from him. And I would never want him to hear this, because keep playing, kid.
Oh, he will. He listens to the show.
But I didn't think he was that great of a fit. John Freese was great too. But that guy's been Josh Freese. But he's been in every band, so I don't know if they want someone a little less known, but I don't know. But the guy from the Darkness, his last name is Hawkins, so perfect fit.
Oh, there we go. From one Hawkins to another. There. I was listening to a podcast today, and they were talking about how Taylor was an original member, and I just wanted to be like, no, he was not an original member of Foo Fighters.
No, not even the original drummer.
Right.
Because Dave played everything on the first 2 records, but there was a drummer that toured with them that was, in the videos and on the album covers.
Which is crazy, because I was a big fan of, is it William Goldsmith? Is that his name? William...
Oh, the original?
Yeah.
From what I can remember the name of their band better than his name. Yeah, Sunny Day Real Estate. Really, you liked him, huh? Okay. Honestly, it takes a lot.
Yeah.
There's drummers that are good and drummers that are bad. That I can tell. To get to that next level where I'm like, this guy's really adding something to the project, it takes a lot. Nah, I would put Taylor Hawkins in that category. I thought he.
Yeah.
But
no, I'm just saying, like, I was a big William Goldsmith. I was a big Sunny Day Real Estate fan. So like, it was like one of those deals when they get the bass player and the drummer from Sunny Day, and then you got Dave Grohl, obviously put those guys in a band together. I was pretty excited for the band.
Part of me feels like you're just trying to mess with me here.
No, I'm seriously, like, I'm a big Sunny Day Real Estate fan.
I heard about them.
Their first albums are great.
I first heard of them from the Foo Fighters documentary.
No, they had like a Pink album, and then they had the album with the little people, like the toys on it or whatever. Yeah, great 2 albums. Kind of like they were like the prototype emo band. Like, they were like emo before like anybody knew what emo was. But whatever, dude, just whatever.
Okay,
let's get back to our Slipknot show.
Did you ever see the Foo Fighters movie?
Sorry?
Did you ever check out that Foo Fighters movie?
Yeah, I thought it was great. I thought it just shows you, like, no matter how big your band gets, you're still just almost like a local band at heart. Because like there was that one part where Nate goes back to Sunny Day and Dave's like, just boozing it up at his mom's house or whatever. And it's just like it's a mess, man. It's just funny how like, oh, the band's over. It's like Metallica when they're like they're thinking the band's over because Newsted's going off to do Echo Brain. Like, oh, it's over. It's all over.
That Beatles Get Back documentary was very touching to me in the sense of like, oh my God, this is like being at band practice.
Yeah.
And they're the biggest band on the planet at that moment. And the guitar player's being a pissy little shit. The drummer's just hitting stuff too often. And then one guy's trying to like negotiate everybody to be on the same page, and the other guy is just high. And it's like, holy crap. It's like, you know, all the fame, all the success, all that stuff, when it comes down to the four of you sitting in a room, it's exactly the same. But I was talking about the Foo Fighters motion picture, Studio 666, not the.
Oh, no. I didn't watch that. No, sorry.
Well, I liked it better when it was mine project.
I've heard your bullet points on how that entire movie was stuff that
tell me where I'm wrong.
You might have a case, my friend.
Yeah, okay.
Speaking of bands that make movies, Kiss. I know you love Kiss. I figured I would find a Kiss story for
my second favorite band.
Kiss's longtime manager addresses Paul Stanley's lip sync accusations. And I know this is on one of your favorite YouTube channels, the Sync and Stanley YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Let's see here. When Sync and Stanley asked McGee to clarify if he, quote, actually saying there are backing tracks that Paul is singing to, Doc says he'll sing 2 tracks. It's all part of a process because everybody wants to hear everybody sing, but he fully sings to every song.
Okay.
So he sings to every song.
Good for him. I kind of wish Doc would have not taken the bait on this one. Yeah, come on. What a horseshit answer, first of all. But that whole Sync and Stanley thing, you know, believe it or not, was sort of inspired by the PAW Paul Stanley thing. He I know who it is. He's talked to me. I don't know if he's
I'm talked to me.
Nice. I don't know if I guess I haven't followed along. I don't want to expose his identity if he hasn't.
Right.
That's not where I was going with this. I have always felt his was a little. It seems a little too personal and a little too attacky. Because anybody not familiar with I did a Paul Stanley parody account, but it was largely just taking the piss out of like everybody in Paul's life, and you know, so it was sarcastic and snotty, but it wasn't like trying to make a point. And that seems to where this Sync and Stanley thing has almost become all about like exposing what we already know. I mean, it's like there's really no more. I mean, you're not going to convert the diehards. They don't. Yeah. They don't care if they do acknowledge it, and people like us already know. So whatever. I mean, I don't care if someone wants to pay $100 to see that. I just don't. So to me, I think it's unnecessary. I don't want to shit on somebody for having a good time because I think it sucks. Unless it's a Beyonce show, then I have to step back.
Well, she doesn't see because that girl could sing, Bakko.
Here we go.
The last, I guess I've seen Kiss twice on this End of the Road tour.
Shut up! What the hell's wrong with you? Sorry, as I just said.
One was Louder Than Life, which obviously I was covering, so I got
that doesn't count. Yeah, that doesn't count.
And then I saw them. I got gifted tickets to. I took my 4-year-old. I know how much you love when people indoctrinate their kids into listening to things that they listened to as a kid.
Sure.
But yeah, I've seen them twice, and it's funny because in between songs, it's like, "Hey, everybody, thanks for coming out to the show," and then he gets into the song, and it's like, it's not perfect. So I know that they're like, it's definitely pre-recording somewhere. Because it's not like they're pulling the original like 74 tracks off of the album, but he's definitely using some doctored vocals.
Yeah, no, I think it's like I said, I think it's been exposed and covered enough. Yeah. I would like to try to clear up one of my most misconstrued because I have so many of them. Yeah, statements regarding Kiss or life and anything like that. I have taken my kids to a Kiss concert. I know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's not so much that you shouldn't do that or like that. I don't want, but I also never really gotten involved in like what my kids listen to on their own. Find, you know, what are you listening to? That stuff. But it was more, you would never these guys take they're huge Kiss fans. They tuck in their t-shirts. They take their 8-year-old to the show, and then they come away. It's like, oh, he was singing the songs more than I was. He likes Kiss more than me. It's like,
right.
A kid went to a Kiss show and had a good time. It's hard not to. Yeah. It's a pretty cool show, especially if you're like 8, 9, 10 years old. But that doesn't mean just like Dad, here's your big old Kiss fan. No, you not just like Dad. So it's that exchange. I have zero. Look, your kid wants to go and you get the money to take him. But also let them develop and be who they are as a person across the board. Maybe they don't like music that much. That's okay too. But that's where my stance is. Not so much like you shouldn't do it. Just shut the fuck up, untuck your shirt, and stop acting like because you saw 12 other 8-year-olds dragged there by their parents that Kiss is they're just going to keep going forever. Why do you even want that, man? There you go.
There it was.
Hey,
that's what I wanted.
Thank you for giving me the moment there.
Thank you. Yes, you're. I took my, my little one, I think was 4 at the time, and actually I took my oldest son too. He's like 13 at the time. 13-year-old. Like I was like, I was dragging him across nails. I mean, he was just having no part of it.
That's my boy.
The 4-year-old walked away. I liked it when Gene licked his bass, and he had a bunch of like moments, but yeah, my 13-year-old, he was just like in hell like the entire time.
Right on. He's my guy.
Well, we spoke about Metallica a second ago, but ex-Metallica bassist Jason Newsted is putting together a heavy new project. Are you excited about this?
I am. I love Newsted, that solo whatever deal, but I think it's looking forward to it. Better than the Chop House Band, but seemed like he was just kind of having fun there.
Yeah, it says former Metallica bassist Jason Newsted recently stopped by Gator 98.7 FM. The Gator Garage.
Is that in Florida?
I would assume so, yes. The Gator Garage for a VIP performance and question and answer session with the radio station's Jason and Franny.
Nice.
That's my favorite show.
Yeah, I'm a big Jason and Franny guy.
Oh yeah.
Huge inspiration to me personally.
Yeah, I mean Jason's all right, but Franny, like,
carries
can't
the
go
show.
wrong. Yeah.
Franny's the LC of that show. Yeah.
Right, the good sidekick, right?
Yeah.
Asked what musical projects he is currently working on, Jason said, actually, I spent 6 months of last year putting together the Chop House Band Volume 1. The Chop House Band has been together and making music since 1992. So it was our first album after 30 years. I spent a lot of time on that. And then once I got that under my belt, I'm kind of stepping back into the heavy now. So the last couple of weeks, I've been auditioning guitar players for a heavy project. I'm back on bass and singing with a metal drummer, double bass, getting loud again. So I've got a couple of irons in the fire. I'm putting 2 new projects together right now, but loud.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see what he does. I wonder what kind of Metallica money he was able to walk away with, and does he even get much in residuals? I don't know what kind of deal he had. He didn't have a lot in songwriting, so that means there wouldn't be much in publishing. But
yeah,
well, who knows? Anybody can own anybody's publishing, but I don't think that would have been the case. But so yeah, I'm curious because he was
actually asked that question. Let me see if I can find that because there's an actual.
So I always think that's wrong. While you're looking that up, Bruce Kulick at the KISS convention here in '95, a guy, a rapid fire, asked him 5 questions, and one of them was like, "And how much does KISS was your salary for KISS when you joined?" And he answered every question like politely and in depth, and then he's like, "As far as the money question, frankly, it's kind of a stupid question, and it's none of your business." And he said. And I don't think he meant to. I think Bruce is just a robot, but he sounded like a complete fucking jerk when he said it. It's like, and the whole crowd was just like, whoa. And then like, I don't know, about 30 minutes go by and they're on to other things. And all of a sudden you hear this guy who no longer has the mic and he's yelling, "What the fuck was so stupid?" I was like, just one of my favorite KISS moments.
All right. So I found it. This is from Metal. This is from Metal Injection from 2017. It says, we also asked Jason something about something Metallica fans have debated for a long time, and that is whether he could get away with never working again and just living off the royalties from the legendary Metallica Black album, which at that time was still selling 4,000 to 5,000 copies a week. His answer was surprising and revealing. So Rob asks, and one last thing I wanted to ask, and I mean this could be a little personal, so feel free not to answer this, but something that I feel like I and other people have joked about was that you could basically never do another business venture at all and simply live off the royalties from the monster that was the Black Album, because it's still selling like 4,000 or 5,000 copies a week without getting into financials. Would you say that's a fair thing to say? Newsted says, everything you said is correct. As far as the sales of those records is something that's never been seen before. It's this thing that won't go away, and everything we could have ever predicted. So that's plain and simple. That's information for anybody to know or find. But early on, when I joined the band in '86, and they were already headed up by some very together people, some very together team of management and other people that handled their business from day one, even when I was just a hired gun before I started getting a cut. It took 5.5 months before I started to get a full cut. So the first 5.5 months, I was just a session guy. So by April of '87, which was, check that shit. 30 years ago this month, I joined as a full member, taking a full cut. Kind of skip through here. So from that time, the persons that handled them and guided them also took me under their wing and guided me. And the people that know what goes on with investments. So when we did what we did and were able to hit what we hit and hit that stride, we were able to take it to the people when there were, Jesus Christ, that's a lot of words, when there were that many 12 to 16-year-old male individuals on the planet that played our metal to and came and checked out our stuff and made some bucks, and CDs still sold and t-shirts still sold, and we really invested the money. That's all. So the short answer is Newsted was already set for life before the Black Album even came out. So there you go.
Wow. Okay. That's detailed.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think if you get when I interviewed Newsted for an hour, and I think he will answer that kind of question. I
thought it was asked the right way.
Honestly.
I mean, it wasn't like, how much do you make? It was like,
right. How much? I'm going
to let you know that, like, I'm not trying to be a dick here. Maybe you want to answer, maybe you don't. I think that's okay. Yeah.
I mean, I definitely, if I ever have a question like that, I'll definitely leave it towards the end of the interview, and I'll even preface it by saying, like, if you don't want to answer this, we don't have to. I'll cut it out, I'll edit it out, but and I'll hit them, and I don't think I've ever had anybody not want to answer the question, but yeah, if you ever have something like that in there, and when I interviewed Jason, I threw in like a joke that because there's that joke in the year and a half of life of Metallica. And he goes, I got plans for those millions, and it's not sandwiches. And he goes, and Jason's response was, he's like, yeah, he goes, I was able to buy anything that I want and eat sandwiches or something crazy like that.
Nice.
So yeah, it was a good time. So go check out my interview with Jason Newsted.
I think you and I should do it like an episode where we talk about like the interviews we did and then the questions that we held on to for the end, because sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't.
Right. Yeah. They normally hang up. Actually, I interviewed I'll spoil this. I interviewed Glenn Matlock of the Sex Pistols the other day. And
I'm looking forward to that.
I asked him a question and he answered it, and then his screen went black. And I was like, oh shit, he got mad at me, and but it was just a technical issue. But it was like the way it happened, because it was, I didn't really want to touch too much on the Sex Pistols. I know because I went back and I watched all these years of interviews with him, and it's like there's one from 79, there's one from 83. It's like every year there was an interview, and it's always, so why did you leave the Sex Pistols? And so.
Well, he was like the wizard behind the curtain. He basically played the parts that what's his nuts couldn't. Not Johnny Rotten, Sid Vicious.
Yeah, he actually talked about I guess he was in a band with Sid after the Sex Pistols for a little bit. Like, I guess he played bass for Sid Vicious, like in Sid's post Sex Pistols band, I guess before he died. But Yeah, it was a fun interview. That's kind of one I kind of wish I had a do-over, just because I didn't know how he was gonna be, and now that I know how he's gonna be, I think I could have approached the interview a little bit differently. He was fun. He was all about talking about the Sex Pistols, so I kind of wish I would have brought it up a little bit more.
Yeah, I don't know what I would definitely be getting into the Sex Pistol stuff. I had. Not to sidetrack us too much, because I've already done that several times. I had a very similar vibe to the Daryl Hall interview, because a couple things, they tried to get me, asked if I could start 10 minutes early, and I was literally in the bathroom when they were calling me. And I'm like,
nice.
It was a nice get, but I'm like, I can't take this call right now. And then I call him back, and then he said something that I think when I listened to it back, I didn't hear the way I heard it the first time, but it sounded salty. And then all of a sudden it affected like half of my questions, and it threw me off my game. And I'm like, you know what, man, you really need to just get in the moment and stick there. That's when you do the best. Cause I listened to that interview. I didn't listen to that one for a couple months, because I was like, I have to put it out, obviously, but I don't think this is very good. And look, not the greatest interview I did, but I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It was much better after a little time go by. But then I think right away my head was like, you fucking, you got it.
You are the worst. You are the worst. Screaming at yourself in the mirror.
Don't read the YouTube comments.
My favorite part of the interview is at the very beginning, when you're like, you got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame with Kiss. So do you know them? It was almost like a Chris Farley show kind of answer question.
He was actually pretty nice about that.
Yeah, he was fun. But he definitely doesn't like old John Oates.
Right. And I knew he was kind of chippy. And I've done interviews with guys like that, and they're Steve Albini, one of my favorite conversations with that motherfucker. And boy, he's got an edge to him, man.
Yeah, I was almost actually kind of waiting for more edge out of Glenn Matlock, but he actually ended up being just a good old guy, so. But it was
because for them right now, it's basically Johnny Rotten on one side, and then him and Steve Jones on the other, right? It's like, we want to do all this stuff, and Johnny's like, no.
Right. I did ask him. A fun one was like, what did he think that the kind of the punk culture is still kind of around? And he's like, oh yeah, all these fakes out there with their cookie cutter punk look. I was like, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
But
fuck that, man. Yeah, I think early on, Elsie and I had a conversation about punk, and he started getting going. I'm like, wow, we really, when that term gets thrown out, have very different views on what they are. But anyway.
Yeah. All right. Last thing before we get into some recommendations for the week, man. This episode will be out on a Thursday, but upcoming next Tuesday is Valentine's Day, and you have a significant other, old Toots up there, and I talk about my wife on here. So let's here's a list of 14 awesome metal love songs that aren't ballads. So if you want a little on Tuesday, you want to put these songs on,
something to seal the deal,
and it might seal the deal. Might get a little snuggle up with the love there. This comes from Loudwire. So there's really
really like these. I do.
This really has there's no ranking here. This is just 14 songs, heavy metal love songs that aren't ballads. And, fittingly, the very first song is This Love by Pantera. For all the chest pumping machismo, Phil Anselmo always presented a shred of sensitivity. And on Pantera's vulgar display of power, he welcomed the listeners into his love-torn mind. This love finds the singer embattled, struggling to process his emotions and unsure if he's been hurt or if he's caused the pain to both parties himself. The lyrics are, I'd been tempting the one, stole her from herself. This gift is gift in pain. Her pain was life. And sometimes I feel so sorry. I regret the hurting of you, but you make me so unhappy. I take my life and leave love with you. So, do you think you'll be turning on some Pantera for the lady this Valentine's Day?
Probably not, but we'll see. We'll see.
All right. If that one doesn't do it for you, NIB by Black Sabbath. Even Black Sabbath felt the temptation to use love as a lyrical device on their ominous, haunting debut.
Wow,
While
this
the
one's
true
a
meaning,
stretch.
while the true meaning of the title of NIB remains veiled, what is for certain is that it is a love song about the devil. And there's a little devil in everyone, right, Sam Smith?
Okay.
Now I have you with me under my power. Our love grows stronger now with every hour. Look into my eyes. You'll see who I am. My name is Lucifer. Please take my hand.
Man.
You're not trying that one?
Trust me, just you reading those lyrics back to me took me back to like my pre-pube bedroom, listening to that with the lights off and the headphones on. Like, oh my God, I think I just worship Satan. Right. And then Ted Cruz tweeted about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
American Christians need to get together because of you now.
I'm looking forward to the rest of the list now, is all I'm getting at. Now I see where they're going. That's pretty good. I like that.
A couple of these, I'm not, I'm not going to lie and say that I know these songs. So Right Here in My Arms by him. I'm assuming a lot of his songs are about some sort of tortured love.
Well, him is actually a band.
Right.
Oh, I thought you said his. It's because it's HIM, right? It's
yeah.
The Heartogram people. I have one of the records. It's pretty good. I don't know that song's on it.
The lyrics are, she is smiling like heaven is down on earth. Sun is shining so bright on her. And all her wishes have finally come true. And her heart is weeping. This happiness is killing her. So most likely a love tune. I was supposed to interview, what's his name? Like Valo. Yeah.
He just dropped a new record. Was it recent? I take it then?
Yeah. So I listened to that album like 5 times in a row to kind of get ready for it. And then the interview never came through. So,
okay. Actually, you were talking about, I was like, God, I got to download that record because I wanted to check it. Is it any good?
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like a him record. So if you like him, then.
He claims he got roofied in Minneapolis.
Was it you?
No.
Okay, sure. When the Wild Wind Blows by Iron Maiden.
I don't even know this one. This has to be like of their later years.
Yeah, it says it took 30 years.
Blaze Bailey years.
Yeah, Blaze Bailey was. If you want some love, you put on some Blaze Bailey era.
Oh yeah.
It took 30 years into their professional career for Iron Maiden to finally write a love song. Of course, the song takes place at the end of days, threatens the world. In the song, a couple make a suicide pact, preparing their fallout shelter for the inevitable moment, which sounds like a Tuesday for you. The star-crossed lovers,
like the way Hitler went out.
Or that. The star-crossed lovers took their poison a little too early, unaware that the world didn't end after all. So
it is very Romeo and Juliet. Isn't that how that ends? That like it turns out the one wasn't dead, so the other one kills himself thinking they were, and then the other one wakes up and finds out. Okay.
Yeah, and that's Romeo and Juliet. Yes, thank you,
Shakespeare.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Bill Shakespeare.
Yeah.
This one I know you'll enjoy. Love Zone by Judas Priest.
Yeah. Okay.
Ram It Down was another one of Judas Priest's experimental albums, coming off the heels of the synth-charged Turbo.
I will be playing Ram It Down as we enter the boudoir on Tuesday.
Ram It Down with a couple winks at her. It displayed some heavier moments, but was still laser-focused on beat-driven anthems. And while Love Zone wasn't a smash success, it does the job here. Rob Halford's searing highs, discharge hot and horny lines.
Yeah.
Yeah, these have hot and horny lines about the nighttime street merchants with skin for sale.
You know, the edge is kind of taking off these if you're not gay, I think. You just anyway.
Yeah, I think the
it's hard to not think of Rob Halford as a gay man listening to his lyrics. So
yeah, he never showed it off. Okay?
No, I think back then maybe, but we all know now. So,
I definitely
good for him. Nothing wrong with that. No.
Yeah, to eat, whatever he wants to do. Good for him. Girl in a Slayer jacket. Girl in the Slayer jacket by Pig Destroyer. I think
I haven't heard this, but I will be listening to this very shortly after we're done tonight.
Yeah, I think that everybody has fallen in love with a girl in a Slayer jacket.
Yeah, there's always like two at a Slayer concert. Girls, yeah. I mean.
girl at the Slayer show might as well be what this says. We know what you're thinking. Is Pig Destroyer really appropriate for Valentine's Day? This track recounts the girl in the Slayer jacket giving someone their first kiss in 7th grade. But after the opening lines, it all goes south.
Who knew?
Describing the girl's eventual suicide and how Slayer nearly took the blame, but it was a beautiful relationship while it lasted.
Okay.
The lyrics are: her parents tried to sue Slayer. They blamed her boyfriend and the PCP, but the truth is in her eyes, had been dead since she was 5.
Whoa.
She just hadn't disposed of her body. So
that's poetry right there. That's fucking Shakespeare.
Yes, that is definitely Shakespeare. Love You to Death by Typo Negative.
Now this is a good one.
Yeah, I'm
surprised there's not a lot more typo on this list, It
should just be 14 typo songs that will get you laid.
Man.
What list of love would be complete without the presence of the sarcastic, charmingly witty, black-hearted, romantic Peter Steele? On Love You to Death, the hulking Typo Negative frontman deployed the verbal caution wet floor signs as his baritone croon pined for a lifetime of submission and worship.
I just thought it was like Peter entered his teen years. His mom looked at his father one time and said, maybe Peter wasn't the best name.
Peter Steele. Yeah. Have I told you the story of my friend that when we met Peter Steele, my friend had the Playgirl that Peter was in, had him sign it, and then jokingly said, Peter, you're hung like a horse. And Peter looks at us and goes, yes, my mother was a mule.
That's amazing.
That's my Peter Steele story. Thank you.
That's a good one, man.
A couple more for you. Falling in Love by Scorpions. Are you familiar with this one?
No, I'm not the biggest Scorpions guy, but this is clearly not a single.
This was on Animal Magnetism.
Okay, so it's old.
Yeah. We'll skip over that one because I know you'll know this one. LOVE Machine by Wasp.
Fuck yeah, baby. Now we're talking. Yeah.
From the band who authored Animal, Fuck Like a Beast comes, is it Love Machine or LOVE Machine?
I think
did
they say,
Wasp fans?
You're not wrong either way, but it's Love Machine, yeah. LOVE, all I need's my love machine, no. There you go.
A less egregious, but still reprehensible track, all about carnality. Man, the guy was just having as a wordsmith who wrote this.
There we go.
Make no mistake, this song is more about hot and wild loving than pure inseparable love. But when things are going steady and the blood flow increases, Wasp have the soundtrack to your night.
I appreciate my dad more when I listen to Wasp nowadays because there's not a lot of salty to the lyrics on the first couple records, and God bless his heart, my dad, he was definitely not in that vein of music. He not a hard rock guy, but he supported his boy. He's like, well, he likes this stuff. What do I care? So love you, Dad.
R.I.P. Dad. All right, we'll do one more and then we'll get into some recommendations and get out of here. Man. You're in Love by Rat.
Wow, the way this list was going, I'm surprised this is in there. Anyway, what does it say?
This is a song that was probably written in under 10 minutes. There's no lip-biting sexiness, no tur-curling double entendres, just straight up love-struck emotions from Rat. Is there anything more innocent than catching a flash of someone and swelling with affection?
Swelling.
For all of the glams. for all of the glam's debaucherous days, this one kept it nice and PG. The lyrics are, you take the midnight subway train, you're calling all the shots. You're lucky, you're struck by lightning. You're in love.
I always I was like, you're in love. Like you. Yeah, you like getting pissed on, don't you, bitch?
Yeah, that's definitely your like 12-year-old Bakko. Stephen Piercy said, "You're in love, like you're in love."
One of my favorite rat tunes, but yeah, they were going so dark and heavy with all this shit, and then to come in with that kind of like little fluffy thing at the end there, whatever.
So if you need head over to Loudwire for the 14 awesome heavy tracks that are not ballads. If you want to spice up your Valentine's Day,
and happy Valentine's Day.
There you go. Happy Valentine's Day, because we love here at the Talk To Me podcast.
Oh, we love love.
All right, man. So I asked you for some reviews, recommendations for the week, and if you want me to, I'll go first, and sure. And I'll give you the floor at the end here. A TV recommendation, which was actually a recommendation from a week or so ago, is still Poker Face. Watched a few more episodes of that. It is on Peacock. I think I said it was on Netflix. If you ever want to know if people are actually listening to your show, say a show is on the wrong streaming network and they will get you because I've now done that twice on the podcast, and I get instant messages, YouTube comments, and Facebook comments and everything else. So yes. So Poker Face is on Peacock. And so far, so good, man. It's a little murder. What did they call it? Murder of the week. Little mini stories and stuff, with Natasha Lyonne. Yeah. And so yeah, it's a good time. And then musically, the band Sleep Token. They've been like their PR push over the last week or so has just been amazing. Like everybody's writing about them. Talking about how, like, they're, speaking of Valentine's Day, they're like the horniest new band out. They definitely got some of that, like the Deftones vibe to them, maybe a little bit of Tool vibe to them. And I was like, you know what? If they're going to call this band like the horniest band out, I'm going to check them out. And if you're going to check out Sleep Token, make sure you check out the song The Summoning first. And I think that's a pretty good blueprint of what they do. And so check out Sleep Token and continue to watch Poker Face on Peacock.
I'm not a big Natasha Lyonne fan. That's why I've stayed away from Poker Face, but I've heard nothing but great things about it. So I think eventually I'm going to get into that one. Well, you know what? It's not necessarily a new show, but it is on Peacock, and we recently watched it. If you haven't watched Dr. Death, I highly recommend it. It's actually re-scripted, kind of like what Netflix did this with another show, it's like something 81, Experiment 81 or something like that. But anyway, that was all fiction. This is based on a true story podcast called Dr. Death. It's about a guy named Dr. David Dunch. And basically, I don't want to ruin too much of it, because actually it was more enjoyable to find out that there was actually some truth to all this stuff. But yeah, it stars Pacey from Dawson's Creek as Dr. Dunch, and it's like a 10-part series on Peacock. My wife and I both enjoyed the hell out of it. It's really well done. You know what?
Name's Vanderbeek.
Yeah. You know what? I like the beak. You don't want my life. I don't want your life. I had the underrated sports movie. A stupid teen movie is that Varsity Blues. I love it.
Yeah, good one.
And then you know what? I'm just going to go with a movie recommendation. I watched this recently. It's up for a bunch of Oscars and Golden Globes. First of all, I think I may have heard of it, but it really didn't register to me until they were being nominated for so much stuff. And my wife watches the Golden Globes, and she will be watching the Oscars. But Everything Everywhere All at Once. It has the lead male actor is Short Round, the guy who played Short Round in Indiana Jones. But I think if you haven't seen a trailer for this, I recommend don't. Right. Because I was just blown away and shocked at what this movie. I was like, okay, it's really cool, but it's out there and it's a little trippy. But fuck Josh, that's either on Netflix, Peacock, or Paramount Plus.
Oh, you better get it right.
One of those three. I know it's not on Disney Plus. It's not on Hulu.
The way you said that, I talked to my cousin the other day, and because he got married, and I was like, "Why didn't you invite me to your wedding?" I was like, I didn't really want to go. I just was giving him shit, and he goes, "Yeah, man, I took my honeymoon to New Orleans." And he goes, "Man, if you ever get a chance to go to New Orleans, don't." just like the way he said it was so positive, and then he goes, "Don't," and then he started talking about all the homeless and the crime, and which. It had to be pretty bad for him to be complaining about it.
Wow.
He's not like clutching his pearls as he walks around, the French Quarter. So
it's weird that you say that, because like that city is always on the radar to go to. Like, when where do we want to go this year? But in the back of my head, I'm like, if it's not like during Mardi Gras, isn't it really just like a small version of Vegas? Because you have basically the French Quarter, the 3 or 4 blocks of everything party. And if you don't stay right there, I've never heard good things. Unless you like going to see cemeteries and voodoo doctors.
Which that would probably be the fun part. I played a few shows there in the 90s. So we would go and explore New Orleans and the French Quarter and stuff. But like, I haven't been back since. So I don't know how, how if it's been built up or whatever, but good. So our Sean Payton, beignets. We're just yelling things we know about New Orleans.
Superdome.
There we go.
I was raped there during the hurricane. I love that place.
Well, that too. All right. Well, I think that will do it for another episode of Talk to Me here on notfest.com. Bakko, thanks for jumping in last minute for Chris Aiken.
I'm always there for you, buddy.
So just where can everybody find you on the old internet?
Just Google Cobras and Fire podcast. It's a key to put the word podcast in there, and then you'll find us. We're basically on every podcast player, and we also you can go to cobrasandfire.com, and all the links to all the YouTube, Twitter, all the nonsense. It's all right there. Yeah, check us out. If you do check us out, give us a rating, give us a review. Do a shared, all that good stuff that we are just probably the worst show at promoting.
Right.
But anyway, yeah. And if you like listening to the sound of this guy, there's, I don't know, I think we have close to 500 total episodes, and you're on 173 of them as of today.
I think I am. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Have you ever thought about like reading reviews on your podcast and maybe like, begging for them?
Yeah, we've done it. And then we just stop. I would like to, I always like to blame everything on my co-host, but the reality is that, you've now done a football podcast with me for a full season. When it comes to structure and remembering to hit things at a certain point, I am really bad at it. So it's nice to have, anchors like yourself and Gene around to take care of that kind of stuff. Hey, you forgot to, do this thing. Oh, that's right. We're doing that. But yeah, so
That's nice.
Anyway.
All right. Well, that will do it for another episode of Talk to Me here on notfest.com. So until next Thursday, I am Joshua Toomey, and we will talk to you guys soon.